Now, from Into Tomorrow, this is an ITTV special report.
Our next guest wants you to go paperless, and he's doing a whole lot to help you do just that. They've got some pretty neat LCD writing tablets. You may have heard about them before on Into Tomorrow, as we talk a lot about the Boogie Boards. The CEO of Improv Electronics, Dr. Albert Green. Welcome Into Tomorrow.
Pleasure to be here, Dave. Thanks a lot for having me.
It's a pleasure. We've talked a lot about the original Boogie Board, and the popularity was awesome. Your team sent several for giveaway, and many lucky listeners said, oh, this is so cool. A lot of them, you shared them with their kids. I was surprised. You know, usually it's like, no, this is mine. Nobody's touching it. And how handy they are. Tell our audience that may not be familiar, always adding new stations and new listeners, what the original Boogie Board is, and then we'll get into some really cool stuff too.
You know, the original Boogie Board, fact of the matter, it's a fun product. That's really what it is. But we put it in this class of products. We call it's really a new class of products, which we call dedicated e-writers. So this is really a class of products. It's a very simple sort of single-use product or single application product where the focus of the Boogie Board is really about writing, and it's a back to basics. Say no to paper. You use it instead of a piece of paper. It works almost exactly like paper, except instead of throwing it away when you're done, you push a button, you erase, and magically the image disappears, and you start all over again. Writes like paper, works like paper. But it isn't paper. It actually saves paper. That's the Boogie Board.
And this would be more the original Boogie Board, and you've added some color to them. You've done some other
a bunch of
unique
different things. This is the original Boogie Board that everyone kind of set a lot of things on fire, got us rolling. Very exciting product. We introduced the standard Boogie Board. We introduced a Boogie Board. A larger, this is 8.5 inch. We introduced a 10.5 inch, which is about 50% larger. Had a few other features, but all based on similar technology, simple to use. There's one button. There's really no user manual. It's one button. It's back to basics. Really exciting product. The question always comes up though. They say, you know, I love this product. I like using it for writing. I take my notes, I do stuff, I push a button and I erase it. But you know, there are times when sometimes I don't want to just erase it, I actually want to save it.
Because maybe what you drew was a whole lot more interesting than you thought it was going to be.
Exactly. Or instead of saying, you know, call home or buy cheese and buy eggs, maybe you actually wanted it for, you know, you're in the media. You want to use it for when you're taking notes and interviewing someone. So you want to save the information. So that was always the question that came up. So this year, actually in November, we're really excited about our new product. It's called the Boogie Board Rip. And RIP stands for actually record image and then preserve it. And the Boogie Board Rip still maintains the same features as the standard Boogie Board. What are those features? It's fun, it's easy to use, it's simple, it's back to basics. Except now instead of just one button, we have two buttons. So now instead of just erase, you can save it. So now you can save that information. You go to your computer later, you plug it in your computer, and you can now look at the image that you've saved later. So the product is used untethered. It's not connected to anything. Works just like the standard Boogie Board. You can write with all kinds of different writing tools, and then you can actually save the information and look at it later. So that's a Boogie Board.
What looks like a little USB port.
That's right.
So that you can, in fact, then save all these images to your computer.
Correct.
Especially when you drew that masterpiece on as you were doodling and said, "Oh my God, I've got to save this. I can sell it."
Exactly. Exactly. That's what the Boogie Board Rip's all about. We're really excited about that. Like I said, introducing it in November this year. This is actually our debut. The first time we're showing to the general public the final prototypes of the product.
And what is it going to cost? The Rip.
We're finalizing pricing right now. It's going to be just north of $100 US. You know, and you can sort of we're introducing it first in Japan and in Europe here, just over 10,000 yen and just over 100 euros, and then shortly thereafter we'll introduce it in the US in November. So it's all happening in November, staging this launch. and it'll be just north of $100.
And it's really, I love how you refer to them as e-writers, because everybody's used to an e-reader.
Correct.
And then they've got their Nook, or they've got their whatever Kindle, they've got all other devices. But now an e-writer allows you to do the kind of cool things you're talking about. How handy are these things for those who maybe just recently went back to school? Do you see the kids using them in school, or even college students taking advantage of these things?
Certainly, the RIP product we expect will have a huge following in that space.
For notes in class, awesome.
For sure. And in terms of the standard Boogie Board, that's been a huge market for us. In fact, there are these niches that really fit, and schools have been one of them. We actually offer a special pilot program in the U.S. that allows school districts to purchase a bulk units at a heavily discounted price.
Wow.
Another niche market that's somewhat surprising is actually rehab. You know, where people who are rehabilitating from certain injuries or something like that might use a product like this. In fact, in Japan, we won this award for the best new rehab product.
Oh, love it.
So it's just really great applications in areas that you might not even think of initially.
Oh, for sure.
So
well,
really
you can
exciting.
write your 12 steps right on the Boogie Board.
Write whatever you want right away, and your dedicated e-writer, your Boogie Board Rip product.
Well, especially the Rip is very cool. You got to check it out. But even the original Boogie Board is awesome, and the colors now that they've introduced, and carrying cases. I mean, there's just all sorts of neat stuff. You can use a stylus or your fingernail. Works like a champ. You've got to check out myboogieboard.com, MyBoogie board.com. We'll link you there when you hit us up at intotomorrow.com. Albert, you're a delight to chat with, and I look forward to some of the other cool stuff that you're no doubt going to be coming out with that we can talk about.
We have a bunch of stuff, Dave. It's a pleasure talking to you as always, okay?
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.